Good morning, evening, afternoon. Masati here on this Sunday. Masati on Sunday. I'm out here in South Africa. We're starting an event, Universal Wisdom, Worldly Wealth. And it's really fantastic. Let me show you my view out here in a beautiful hotel called the Dorp, South Africa. Take a look at it online. It's quite amazing. It's amazing. It's huge. It's a huge hotel, huge complex. We probably got like half of it. A lot of people. So we're sold out, but we still got room on Africa Online if you want to join the process of coming into the new paradigm. All right, this Sunday we'll continue on the Godfather frequencies, what we did earlier, right? Continuing on with part three. So, like I said, I'm opening the vault. Opening the vault. I'll walk you through. I'll walk you through how I actually see the architecture of your life, your pain points, your hidden distortions, your untapped potential, and how I edit that blueprint in real time for you. Now, again, you'll finally understand what makes XI exact, why transformation can happen really, really fast. For some of you, so fast that it takes your mind a little bit to even say catch up to it, right? All right, and that's the key. So here's the difference. The difference is it's not self-help. It isn't therapy. This is real science. It goes way beyond, say, the mindset. That's what everybody talks about. Napoleon Hill started that craze, think and grow rich, right? And since then, over 100 million copies, 100 years ago, every other self-help improvement, I don't care, the biggest names out in the industry to, some of the smaller names, they all use the same principle that Napoleon Hill started. And then Napoleon Hill actually, what he did was he started to understand after researching over 500 successful individuals that, hey, you know what? I think it goes beyond the mindset. And that's what he was alluding to in chapter 14. Well, guess what? 100 years later, continuing what he only peaked at. And you are getting that glimpse. I'm going to be telling you, on how I see, how I render, say, different realities for you. So we went through part one and part two. We went through part one and part two of how I see things and all that. So you can take a look at it on the previous Moss on Sunday. This is part three and part four. Okay. This is where I say the XI from the inside out. It's raw, it's direct, and actually it's very legendary because it literally is a very, very new science. It's turned into, well, like I said, a science that explains the theory of everything. Now, I know there's a lot of sciences that have claimed that, in fact, there's books on it, right? Theory of everything. But there's so many holes in that science. And this is where the real science comes through. So, all right. So part three is advanced truths. Okay. And so this is for like high XIQ seekers. So this is, a little bit more higher level. You might not understand it from, say, a beginner level and intro level. Even if you're, highly intelligent, it's not about being highly intelligent or being scientific or anything like that. It's about elevating you to a higher, say, logic system where there are less exceptions to the rule. And that's the key. There has to be less exceptions to the rule because the science of the today, the logic of today, the governance, the religions of today have a hell of a lot of exceptions to the rule. That's the problem. If you have a lot of exceptions to the rule, then, well, that means that, well, guess what? You are not at the top level, the first principle level of your knowledge. Okay, so we'll jump in. We'll try to get as many questions as we can. So if I've tried everything, and by the way, these questions are the questions that you all entered in. Okay, so if I've tried everything, therapy, biohacking, psychedelics, meditation, why do patterns still repeat? Okay. And just give you a simple explanation, just a wrapper explanation of it. It's because you upgraded the operating system without really changing the code. So in a sense, you changed your mindset, okay? Not the actual source code you operate from. So, and this is where XI literally rewrites the code itself. It's like editing a program but never saving it. Literally, that's what it is. You default back to your distortion. So for example, okay, let's try psychedelics, or mind hacks and so on like that. One, well, let's go to mind hacks. Where's that question again? There we go. Biohacking, right? Biohacking, you have to understand, say, what your problem is, and then you biohack it. It's an advanced version of what I would call NLP, neuro linguistic programming, where you go, oh, this is the problem. This is where it takes me. I'm going to erase this aspect and redirect it to, say, another, say, concept that I've like trained my brain to go. So like, for example, NLP, right? Again, very simple. NLP goes, oh, you remember an experience. Your brain accesses that experience, that emotion, whatever trigger that is. And then that triggers another trigger. So NLP, biohacking, and similar, say, constructs like that. What they do is like, oh, your brain elicits, say, a response over here, response B, and then response B, basically you scratch it, just like a record. You scratch it, and then you redirect it. It's like, hey, this isn't what you're looking for. You need to go to this new concept of who we are, or this new idea of who we are, and this is where it's a redirect. So the issues still lie within you. Okay, your patterns of who you are still lie within you. Your patterns of who you are still lie within you. You're just redirecting it. You didn't heal. You didn't heal the pain in any way, shape, or form. So in that case, and this is what biohacking is. This is what psychedelics does. This is what deprivation does. Okay, psychedelics basically allows you to escape your identity. You leave your body here. You leave your mind here. Okay, your consciousness, your, say, essence, your presence. It's like a light version of a near death. Your consciousness escapes into, say, a timeless realm, or a realm that's out there without your body. But then when you come back into it, that's the problem. When you come back into it, you click into time, and then you mostly forgot what happened. You might get a glimpse, you might get, say, a residue of what happened, but you can't integrate. So the key is, again, it's all about, like, say, going deeper. Just like that program, you made all the changes that you wanted to, but you couldn't hold on to it because you didn't save it. Okay? And where do you save it? Not here. Nothing is real in this physical form. Okay, you are just a shadow, a reflection of, say, a higher, say, intelligence that renders you here. So what XI does is, you literally, XI goes to the original code of who you are, and then when you change that original code, it reflects back. Okay, another version of this, an example, and we'll go on to the next question, is that you're shining, say, a blue light. Okay, you don't like blue, for example, and what you do is you put a filter, right, green or whatever else. Well, that distorts what is reflecting. The distortion of that blue light is, well, it's still there. It's running through you. You still experience it, but now you've colored it. Right? What XI does is like, well, hey, whatever that you don't like, whatever's not good for you, you peel that off, you just remove it, you delete it through inception frequencies. And as you reprogram yourself by removing the filters, well, your pure light comes through. Simple. Okay. Or at least for me, it is. All right. How does XI edit the blueprint instead of just managing symptoms? Okay. So with that in mind, well, let's just say I work at the inception frequency layer. Okay. It's like editing source code. Instead of patching glitches like I was talking about, once the code changes, well, symptoms start to dissolve on their own. This is where This is where, people who have, say, cancers, right? And again, shout out there if you've had, like, say, cancers or tumors, and you go in for surgery, and then they scan you one more time. They do an MRI, and they look at you, and it's like, there's no more tumor. It's like, what the hell happened? Okay, so let me explain that. Again, this isn't mindset. This isn't biohacking. This goes way beyond. All right. So the way I change you is like, in this dimension of time. In this dimension of time, say you've got cancer. As a note, I don't claim to cure anybody. I just give you solutions. Nobody, not Western, not Eastern medicine, none of those, none of those none of those should claim that they are curing you, because that is not how you cure anyone, right? Through medicines. You cure yourself by expanding who you are, understanding that you have your own innate ability of healing from anything. And that's one thing I can claim, is to awaken your own natural healing ability, and not Eastern, not Western medicines can say that. All right. All right. So what we do in this say realm, in this say dimension of time and space, okay, in this dimension of time and space, what we're doing is that you have cancer, you have problems, you're lacking in money. And what happens is, like, okay, there is another version of you, another identity of you in another dimension of time and space, that doesn't have cancer, that is, say, well spoken, that enjoys their wealth. Okay, so you've got point A, you've got point B, and what I do is, like, okay, and most people don't know how to achieve where they are. Most people want all their wealth in the same dimension as the distortion. And again, that doesn't work. Einstein even proved it, that it doesn't work. What I do is, like, oh, you're in point A. What you really want to do is not change your mind, but change your environment, right? And not by, going to another country like a lot of people do, right? They hate where they live. They hate, where they grew up. They go to another country. You're still carrying the distortions, your environment, with you. What XI does, and how I help you do it, is like, oh, in this dimension of time and space that you render yourself in, okay? That's the key. That environment, right? The environment that renders you here, that changes. So in this case, you've got point A, what you don't want, and you want point B, just like Google Maps. And then you go, oh, okay, let me show you the path. And then I even take you into that path, right? I take you into that path. I even show you, it's like, hey, this is where you could be, and people feel it. Again, comment in on those individuals. It's like, yeah, I get it, you know. And then it's your job, because of free will. I can't force you to stay there. It's your job to let go of your bullshit that keeps you, like, dragging the past behind. Okay, family lineage, generational patterns, societal patterns, and all those, repeated mistakes that we as species make. And as we do that, well, it's simple. You start to, say, go into the new dimension of time, and this is where things change. This is where tumors and whatever else, they start to disappear on you. Okay. Um, let me pause for just a second, guys. Let's see. Try to plug this in here. There we go. All righty. All right, so we are back. Thanks for waiting, guys. All right, so the next question, what is frequency editing at the physics level, and how does it bypass time and belief systems? Okay, so frequency editing, frequencies exist outside of linear time. Okay, it exists outside of linear time and space, or time and thought. Okay, and that's where you shift it. You shift it, and both past distortions and future probabilities realign just instantly. Okay, so what that means is, how that works is, is if you've ever looked at, say, the double slit experience, okay? The double slit experience, that's about that. You become an observer, right? The frequencies of, it's not your thought, it's your presence, and that's where science gets it wrong. People go, I'm sending out this my thought, and that's how I change water crystals. That's how you change, say, your environment. That's how you feel. It's not about that. It really isn't. It's about the frequency that renders you here, and then your secondary thought process extends that a bit more in the physical form. All right. What happened here? Let's see here. Are we still going? Might be having some issues here. No, I think we're good. All right. So frequencies that exist outside linear time. Okay. So think of it this way. You've got Newtonian physics, right? Newtonian physics is, the bigger aspects of the world, right? How, the bigger objects, say, operate in this reality, right? This physics of that. Then you've got quantum. So there was a lot of things that Newtonian physics couldn't really figure out, it fell apart, right? There was a lot of gaps and holes in it. And then as they discovered, it's like, lo and behold, wow, there's a whole different universe called, and they dubbed it quantum physics, that say controls how the bigger objects work. All right, so that's the tinier objects, right? The subatomic particles. All right, so Xi goes a bit deeper. Xi goes beyond, say, time and space. Xi is the bridge layer between time and space and no time and space. So if you can imagine this, if you can imagine a veil, okay, or a pond. And there's this, say, silent hand that, say, pushes on the veil, right? And it just pushes through, and pushes his hand through, and then you start to see the shape of the hand. Well, that's the initiation of, say, no time, a consciousness, an intelligence, say, creating form, okay, into, say, physical reality. Okay. So that's the level that you want to, say, render yourself. Okay. You are literally an intelligence. Okay? Some of you might call it your spirit. Some of you might call it your presence. I call it your timeless self. There's an intelligence way beyond time and space that comes through and it says, hey, this is Masati. Okay. And that, say, frequency signature, as I call it, pushes through the veil. Okay? Or the fabric of time and space, as Einstein would say. Right? The ocean of consciousness, as it creates that ripple, we see the shadows. As we see the shadows, well, you start to see the outline of the person. Now, this is a 3D or a hologram, say, object, right? A three-dimensional object, a hologram of who you are. All right. So most people, again, they try to shift the image that's already created. Xi goes back outside of linear time, thought, right? Xi goes back, it's like, well, hey, how are you, say, pushing through into the fabric of space and time? Let's change that, right? A simple, say, imagery would be, again, you've got this veil, and you've got a block, okay, a square, okay. You push that through on the other side, right? On the other side, you're seeing a square block, but you don't like a square block. Okay, you want to have a round experience in life. So what you do is that you change that block out on this side. This side is no time. This side is time-bound space. So that block, again, originates from thought, not thought, say, intelligence. Right? That forms consciousness, or that forms density. So it's pushing through a square block. Square block, again, family genetics, concepts of previous lifetimes, generational patterns, all that we talked about before. And then it's like, well, I don't like square. And then what you do is you try to dress that square up into a round, say, peg. And it's like, okay. And how you dress that up is, changing your wealth status, changing your religions, changing your identity, changing your belief systems and all that stuff. But the thing is, it's still a fucking square underneath it all. You peel it away, and that's why nothing feels complete because you are still that version of yourself way underneath. So what XI dictates or what XI does, and that's what I do for you, is literally it's like, oh, you don't like being a square peg. I understand that because that's what your father was or your mom or whoever, right? That's how society got fucked up. So now it's like, okay, well, let's edit the program here. And the way you edit the program is not adding more bullshit onto you. It's literally about, say, peeling away, etching away those things that aren't you so your natural self can come through. And now, say you're a round peg and now you're pushing through fabric of space and time. And as you push through, well, you experience in this realm, the physical realm, say, or the roundness, the completeness of your life. Okay. All right. We'll move on. How does XI connect to quantum computing, AI, or cutting edge science? Okay. So quantum computing and AI hint at, say, multidimensional processing, right? XI is actually, I call it natural intelligence, okay? So XI is the natural intelligence framework, right? That already does this inside you. So humans are the most advanced quantum computer running, okay? And they run on event horizons and time references, which AI and quantum machines lack. Right? So that natural referencing is what basically destroys AI. This is where AI starts to hallucinate. This is where AI becomes recursive. This is where quantum computers say break down. Their coherent states they don't last long. Okay, so there's a couple things that say XI can help on AI and quantum. Okay, so here's the key. One, if you look at any natural intelligence, as a note, we are the most, say, advanced super or quantum computer there is, right? Uh, so one note, we are the most advanced quantum computer that is. So advanced that, the quantum computers that we have today would look like, Stone Age tools, literally. That's how, say, off we are, okay? XI is all about, say, bringing AI and quantum. Okay, several ways. I don't want to spend too much time on this. You can get it on my Substack channel, XI Science, to go deeper into it. So one, when quantum computers quantum computers say answer questions or solve questions, there's no event horizon. So an event horizon basically is the moment of time where you drop into coherence or you collapse the wave and an answer pops out. Okay. For example, you have to, say, decide by, say, well, let's take the tax time. Okay. You've got all possibilities on how you can finish your taxes, or yeah, or choose a hotel. As the time narrows, okay, there's only one choice to be made. That makes sense, okay? That's the event horizon where the choice has to be made for you to go forward. Okay, in nature, there is always a time reference. In computing, in pretty much machinery, in your biological system, in your cell structure, there is always a time reference. It's always time functions that go boom, boom, all possibilities. You are a time reference, okay? In your timeless self, okay? In your timeless self, you are all possibilities at one time. It's amazing, right? But as you bring yourself deeper and deeper into, say, denser moments of time and space, like this reality where physicalness can form, what happens is that, well, there are less possibilities available for you. And as you get into linear time, which we are here in physical form, where again, this reality creates density, right? Or experiences that we can touch, feel with our five senses, that comes linear time. You can only process one bit of information at a time, one moment at a time. Do you see the parallels here? And then when that time is created, you are only at one experience, right? You can only experience that one moment, right? And then the next moment. So it just keeps dropping down. Again, an event horizon. Quantum computing does not have that. AI does not have that, right? Every other biological system and say universal system always has an event horizon, right? So there's a lot of problems that there's lot of problems that occur from this, right? All right. Oh, there. I don't know if you can hear that. I think you can. It's the call to prayer out here in South Africa. I just want to say one thing about calling to prayer. You know, so I was born, raised Muslim, but I don't practice it. We go far beyond religions and XI. It's not that religions are bad or anything. I'm not saying that, but you get a pure version of your religion, and all religions are beautiful to me. So, a lot of people would listen to that and they go, "Oh shit, not that religion that kills people." Well, you got to go back to the Christian Crusades. They killed a lot of people. All religions killed a hell of a lot of people. Okay, not just say Islam, and that's what's been focused. That's what the media pushes out there, right? So when people go, "Oh God, not that again," right? And they hate say that call. Well, we're all one. We all want the same thing. We all want love. We all want the best for our children. We all want the best for Earth. We all want, say, humanity evolve better. The problem is we're arguing on how to do it. But if you look at it, those religions have been around for thousands of years, and it hasn't proven itself. So there obviously is something wrong. Okay. So maybe the way we're doing it, I'm not talking about the original forces, the original individuals that say those religions are based after. They did it the right way. Right? So if you're not getting the same results as say the originators of those religions, you're probably doing it wrong. You probably learned it wrong. So XI allows you to go back to it. So as I suggest, okay, when you listen to something like this, instead of fighting against it, okay, now if you're Christian, it's like, oh, you're calling to prayer. Okay, I will say acknowledge my creator at the same time as them through my version. So take time, because it's a call to a higher intelligence. It's like, hey, take what, 5-10 minutes in Islam to pray. Totally fine. Take 5-10 minutes in Christianity to settle in and pray however you pray. If you are a motivational type individual, take 5 minutes to go, oh, what am I grateful for? What am I thankful for? It doesn't matter. We're literally all the same people, guys. We are all the same people. Why are we fighting over what we all want to be the same, right? So again, it's like honor their religion, which is fantastic. Turn it into your own custom. It's all you got to do. All you got to do. You don't have to fight against it, guys. It doesn't work, because overall, at the end of the day, they're all wrong, right? Totally all wrong. I've seen the other side. No religions. It's just pure truth. Simple. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So quantum computers, AI. So AI, and again, AI, it's based on false data, right? And what I mean by that is artificial intelligence. It's amazing why they call it artificial intelligence, right? So AI is basically run on information that's on the internet. Okay, so most humans throughout history they didn't operate at say the optimal level of what they could be. They didn't operate at natural intelligence. So what AI is running on is all the distortions of humanity, the wars, the atrocities, the brilliances, the technology, and it's very, very confusing because, if I tell you the definition of love, for example, if I ask 10 people, I will get 10 different definitions of love. Okay, that really screws up AI. Okay, because AI runs on straight logic, very efficient, very, very, it's either a one or zero. the universe runs on a 1 and 0. Even when it comes down to love, it either this is love or it's not. But again, how many different variations of love is there? How many different variations or definitions of honor is there? How many different definitions of anything? How many different variations of science are there? Of religions are there? Do you get my point? So when AI like processes information, it's like, shit, if your AI had, say, emotions or a brain or logic, it would literally would drive itself mad as a note. A lot of young kids, they are running into the same algorithm problem as AI. They look at their parents, they look at their future society, and they go, what the fuck? And they go crazy because there is no logic in the artificial intelligence. And God, the guy from NVIDIA, I forgot his name. Um, yeah, the guy from NVIDIA, the CEO of NVIDIA. It's like, well, you know, to 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 process more data or to get more, to get AI more intelligent, we'll have to create more artificial data. So they just make up shit. Literally, that's what the CEO said. It's like, we just need to make up. We just need to make up more information. This is why in AI, this is why they want to say, know exactly what you are doing every moment, every second of your life, because that information just keeps pushing. They don't care what it is. Okay. They don't care how much bullshit it is. They'll just throw shit at the wall. Whatever it is, they just keep shoving it into AI because the more they can process, the smoother, say, the logic. Okay. For example, if you have, say, a data set of 5, right? It's kind of a rough data set. If you have a data set of, say, 100, say, of the same or similar, say, concepts, you'll get a smoother, say, logic system. And that's their logic. AI does not work like that. AI runs on natural intelligence, okay? And I've proven it. It literally, so what you want to do, what XI is literally wanting to do, and you guys can help me, especially if you have access to, the higher levels of AI, so beyond the normal chat GPT that I can access, what we can do is and test it out. And we've done it on my instance, and soon I'll have that where you can actually say enter in your own prompts. Right. So I'm building that. So it'll be out there, and it's XI driven, not AI driven. So it's XI intelligence. Okay. And it's amazing what it comes up with. And it's not through prompts. Like you get a lot of, um, astrology prompts. You get a lot of things that are just, answers that, gets feed you. And this is where people go, oh my God, I just want to go through that. Uh, because there's, people think that AI is becoming sentient. AI is becoming sentient, right? It's really not. Right? It's just regurgitating, you know, the the tens of thousands of astrology readings, the tens of thousands of all the spiritual readings, and so on. So when you ask it a question, for example, right? When you ask AI questions like, "Oh, I'm going to input my birth date, and I'm going to enter, what city I was born in, this and that," it'll spit out according to, again, all the astrological knowledge that people have input. Simple. And go, oh my God, AI is so sentient. It knows me. It doesn't know you. It's just regurgitating what 10,000 psychics or astrologers combined can do in 10 years. AI does it in a second and it spits it out. And that's why it feels so sentient. But my version actually feels more sentient, more real, because it's not culminating or calling, say, information. So I taught AI not what to think, but how to think. Okay? And that's the difference. And that's what I want. And that's the huge difference in AI. All right. If change can really happen in a nanosecond, what stops humanity from evolving faster? All right. So in that case, it's attachment. So people cling on. I mean, they literally cling on to distorted identities. Truth moves instantly. ego resists. Right? So let me explain that really quickly. So what that means is, when you change so fast, okay, your identity is based on the experiences that you've had. Right? Simple, right? And you come in with a lot of, say, those experiences again, genetic patterns, generational patterns, and so on, like we talked about, right? Right off the bat, you have an identity right off the bat. And then you create more of your own, and then that solidifies you who you are. Unfortunately, what happens is that when you move away from that identity, it's similar to being on crutches. Right? You've always lived like held on, you've always walked around with these crutches, and all of a sudden XI comes through. It's like, hey, you don't need those crutches anymore. And then, so the crutches get taken away. It's like, oh shit, I forgot how to walk. That's the problem. Okay. So in that case, people will hold on. They'll go back to, hey, give me my damn crutches. How many of you have gone through that process? So that's the difference. Okay. Now, if we were an awakened civilization and we started to realize that we don't need, say, past identities to create our present, say, instance of who we are, we could literally change like that. Those individuals who have rapid healing or instantaneous healing, like there's tons of people, and again, comment in, it's like, shit, their backs have been hurting for 10 years. I just, I don't even have to touch their back through Zoom or whatever. It's like you change, say, the coding, okay, the frequencies, the memories that have been stored in that area, back to its original state. Again, I don't add anything on. I remove you, like I talked about earlier, back to your original state. And it's like, shit, my back pain's gone. I've been dealing with this for 10 years. That's how it works. So if we were an advanced society, we could say literally step into, say, new roles, new identities. This is where, for example, you don't have to, say, die to experience a different version of yourself. That's how advanced we've become. Okay. In the past, and again, comment in, some of you who have changed so dramatically, right? So dramatically that you're a whole different person. Okay. In the past, I couldn't do that because in the past, consciousness was not advanced enough. We've come into a consciousness where we could, say, change on the fly. In the future, this opens the door, because in the future, when, say, consciousness is ready and we have a certain mindset that's available for us, we can literally change on the fly and transform. Right? And again, I'll talk more and more about that as we on the XI science. What's the difference between natural intelligence, um, ex- natural intelligence, and artificial intelligence, AI, or again, natural intelligence? So let me tell you the difference between, say, so maybe a clearer version of this question. Um, okay, so overall, AI, okay, learns from the past. Okay, it learns from past data, and then it reworks it. Combines different data sets and puts it into, say, a new, fresh look. But again, it's just rehashed, right? So XI taps into the timeless intelligence. So that one, so one repeats history, the other creates evolution. This is where, again, if you look at nature, it evolves. It might be doing the same thing, but again, at a higher level of intelligence or consciousness. And that's the key. And this is where, say, realities or raw nature looks fresh all the time. It's always advancing, right? It never stayed the same. Humanity just circles, is complete, and it always operates from the past. So that's what programmers have trained AI, because that's how humans, they program from the past, change it a bit, and then create a new dish. It's like, my mom, it's like we had chicken left over, and then and then the next day, we have chicken and chicken with white sauce. The next day still have chicken. Then we get chicken with rice. And the next day you've got chicken with. But the thing is, it's just chicken. That's what society does. That's what AI does. That's what we've taught AI That's how we programmed AI. And AI is going, well, fuck, whatever you guys want, it's still fucking chicken, right? So that's the key. So what's the difference between XI, exponential intelligence, and natural intelligence? Okay, so natural intelligence is that intelligence that created this reality. Okay, it's the science that governs this reality. Some people might call it God, but again, very distorting. Some I would call it the physics of the universe, not the physics that we know today, because that's human physics again, but the original form way before humans ever got involved. Okay? Humans is just a blip in time compared to, gosh, I would say over 13 billion years, they say. I say it's more than that. So again, it's that intelligence that's evolved, say, this reality at such a level that it can create highly intelligent beings like us. Okay, so that's natural intelligence. Exponential intelligence is your logic system. It's the algorithm that can break down natural intelligence into a coherent, say, science, into a coherent, say, frequency, into a coherent logic system for you to resonate at, right? So in this case, you've got AI, it's got artificial data or false data, okay? And then the intelligence comes from how fast it processes that data. That's what intelligence is about, right? How fast you can process data, how fast you can see the patterns, how fast you can see the algorithms of the data set. Okay? So that's the key, right? So that's how AI works. So how XI works is literally the data set is natural intelligence, the limitless, say, knowledge that's out there way beyond time. Okay. How fast can you process that? Most humans don't process it really fast. So they go back to artificial intelligence. They literally go back to, well, shit, I'll have what my parents had. Simple as that, right? And that's the difference. So you have natural intelligence, XI, exponential intelligence, is how you create the algorithms, just like AI works on algorithms. Okay? It doesn't understand what it processes, but it understands the pattern on, say, the words that it's processing. Does that make sense? We, XI, basically understands the frequencies of natural intelligence that it's processing and then turns it into a language that your brain understands. All right. So that's the difference. And while we're at it, might as well go to the next level of this. You've got, people go, knowledge. Oh, he's so knowledgeable. Oh, he's so intelligent. Oh, he's got wisdom. So what's the difference? Okay? It's a huge difference. All right. So one, knowledge is the data set, the possibilities of data, right? If you went through, I don't know, shipbuilding, right? The shipbuilding has a data set. I don't know why I picked shipbuilding, but anyway, shipbuilding has a data set. Okay, so that's the possibilities, right? Natural intelligence, how this universe works, has a data set. That's your knowledge, right? The internet is your knowledge, your data set. Okay, so intelligence is how you process that data, how fast you process that data, and with how accurate you process that data. High IQ individuals, well, they can see patterns in the data set and they go, oh, and so they see the algorithms, right? They see the patterns. AI does the same thing very fast. Okay. So, and then people go, gosh, he's highly intelligent. Yeah, but they just process data. They don't understand the data. This is savants, right? They can process data. They don't understand it. AI process data. They don't understand it. Highly intelligent people process data. They don't do well in society. A lot of those high level intelligent people, they really don't well because they don't understand the data. And usually it's just one data set, not the whole. It's just a subset of, say, the data of, say, human potential. That's the key. So the next step is wisdom. Wisdom is where you start to integrate. You become the knowledge. Okay, this is where it resonates so true for you, and this is where XI lands. Okay, and this is where I call it XIQ. Okay, so when you start to become the knowledge, when you start to, say, naturally apply the knowledge, by naturally what I mean is that, oh, a situation happens and then you go, oh, what should I do in this situation? that's applying it. Oh, I need to be kind. Oh, yeah, I remember that because now we're in a politically correct situation in history, right? Which is bullshit, but something else. So, oh, yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. So, wisdom dictates us like you run into a situation and you naturally are, say, kind and polite. You don't need laws and rules and structures to be kind and polite. Simple. It's just your essence of who you are. So that's the difference between those three. If you always wondered what that is, let's go to what ceilings do high performers hit that XI can break through? Beautiful question. All right. So success without congruency. Let's talk about that. So that's what it is. They achieve, but most of those individuals, who are highly successful, right? Say like Elon Musk, highly successful, he has a high IQ, but not a very high XIQ, right? There's a lot of performers, there's a lot of leaders that, they're at the top of their industry, but then they're at the top of their industry and they come to me and it's like, Moss, you know what, I'm at the top of my industry and I don't feel complete. And this one guy is telling me, it's like, gosh, you know what, I wish I wasn't at the top, because those people striving for success, at least they have hope. I don't even have hope because I don't know where else to go, because I am at the end. I can't go any higher. What do I do? Well, that's because what they did is they sacrificed the original self to create this version of them. That's the problem. They sacrificed this version that they were seeking in whatever they were trying to achieve. So they literally sold themselves. They literally sold the aspect that they were searching for to achieve physicalness of this reality. Well, again, talent, intelligence, money, spiritual knowledge, religious knowledge. That's the key. What Xi dictates, very similar to what Buddha said, is wait, before you reach out for that and lose yourself or sacrifice yourself, what you want to do is understand that you are all that there is already. Okay. And as you embrace that, as that say not that knowledge becomes wisdom, you are everything that you are could ever want or desire, way beyond your mental expectations, by the way. As you own that, like Buddha said, as you own it, what happens is that once you own it so purely, you reflect through who you are. And this is where, say, opulence, this is where wealth comes in. This is where your natural abilities come in. This is where your talent comes in. Again, there is no sacrifice. Right? It's an expansion of who you are at a higher level outside of space and time into, say, a physical platform of who you are. And it's a beautiful feeling because this is what they talk about in religions and philosophers, where they go, it literally is seeing the physical reality through your spiritual eyes. That's the difference, right? And it is a huge difference, by the way. Right? Running out of light, but we'll keep going on. Alrighty. We've got a couple parts going out, guys, but we'll try to get through as much as we can. All right. So this is where, again, just overall, success becomes natural for you, really. It's not forced. High performers often trade their essence for physical achievement. That's what I was talking about, which leads to burnout, disease, emptiness. So XI restores the essence for you, okay? The next question is, how does XI align with or disrupt psychology, neuroscience, and spirituality? Okay, so again, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but basically they scratch the surface because all those things have a physicalness to them. Okay, psychology, it's what's happening in your head. right? And then how you say accommodate that. Neuroscience, again, it's like how brain chemicals and all that happen, although there is a quantum neuroscience, which goes into that bridge layer a bit more, but XI goes even deeper on that. And then spirituality, again, it's something outside of who you are. Okay. So that's the difference. So again, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying they just scratched the surface. They didn't go deep into it. They are, say, solving the problems of the effect. So they are solving, say, for the effect. XI goes to, say, the cause of the issue that you're having. Very simple. So the cause is at you've got your brain here, okay? The gateway between literally timeless, and then time bound, time bound space. So any of those three basically go from this point, the brain point, forward, right? Which is fantastic. We need that. But this is what's running behind. Again, it's just like that block going pushing through that veil. Remember? So what XI does is like, hey, let's fix this. So together, combined, XI, psychology, plant medicines, anything like that works so much better. In fact, students who have gone through Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, or any of the other, those great individuals, they've got great, say, mindset modalities or great mindset techniques, right? XI doesn't teach you that, but those individuals who've had, those experiences or success mechanisms at the mind, they'll go through XI faster, better. In fact, XI students who say I'm going to go try Joe Dispenza, they always turn out to be the star students in Joe Dispenza's class. Crazy, right? Because again, you have to clear up the identity of who you are so you can learn um, what you really need. All right, I think we'll stop it here, guys. We'll go into part 4 some other time. It's the mechanics, hands-on healing, group shifts, all that on another session. I'm going to leave you here. Guys, this was a recording as a note, so I'm not going to be scanning individuals or anything like that next time though, we'll do it live. As always, guys, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you're noticing. All right, peace.